And it really frustrates me how the sports has such capture of our minds and the bodies and the desires and the dreams of African people. It really disgusts me. And to this day, and y'all still talk about, we need some more black coaches, we need more black agents, more black managers, we need more black owners. And then you get some black men like Jordan that tiptoe around ownership, and they're just as exploitative. Jordan is just as much a slave driver as the white owners. We don't need black plantations. We need to upend the entire plantation system and economy. We don't need black owners. We need, if we're going to have a pro sports industry, we should have communal collective ownership, like the Packers, where the people own the teams, the people invest in the teams, and the players actually do play for the cities and belong to the cities, or invested and embedded in the cities that they carry the names of. And then I sit and watch grown-ass black men chase balls. And it's not $1 billion worth of work. And then it never sticks with baseball. They go out and endorse these products and then have our children overpaying for these products because we are so psychologically broken down that I'll give me a pair of Jordans, or I'll carry the same purse Cam Newton carries, or whatever other products they endorse. And then and it's so ironic. I always see these celebrities endorsing toxic products, drinking Coca-Cola, knowing damn well your body can't function at that level if you're drinking such or promoting such toxic substance. So they use these same black men, black athletes, and take them all over to sell us everything. Hell, Shaq trying to sell me auto insurance. What the hell does Shaq know about auto insurance? Get out my face, Shaq. So it's just my position that nothing deserves to have ass displayed upon it more than the NBA and the other pro sports industry. I wish a black ass would be smacked on your TV every single time you look at that mess, just to remind you that you're being kicked and screwed by these industries and smack you to reality. So I wish Lizzo would hire an army of black women to go to these exploitative, toxic industries, and you think, oh, look at these ball chasers, they getting money. Their individual success does not translate to collective power empowerment. In fact, they get money the same way the white capitalists get it, through exploiting our communities, through exploiting the broken and misdirected, maladapted desires of black youth. And I'm so sick of riding through dilapidated, bombed out, burned out, backwards ass black communities, and I see Jordans everywhere. I took my son to a YMCA on the south side to play basketball, and every little black child in there, every single one of them, even the little bitty basketball players, they all had on Jordans. My son, out of over 100 kids, my son was probably one of only 2 or 3 kids that didn't have on Nikes. And even in my household, I'm not immune. A year or two ago, my son came to me and said, Dad, I want a pair of Jordans. I said, who is Jordan? He's like, who? It's a pair of shoes. I said, do you know who Michael Jordan is? He said, no. And I said, I tell you what, you can have a pair of Jordans when you pay for a pair of Jordans. I would never spend my money on a pair of Jordans. So take these clearance rack Adidas and get the hell out of my face. But now that he's older, he's 17 now, and I ask him, you got your little money now, you got a little money in your account, you're doing a little work, why ain't you getting no Jordans? He's like, I ain't about to pay all that money for those shoes. And he's like, Dad, don't you know, they don't even pay, they pay less than $15 to manufacture those shoes. Some of the shoes is as little as $8 per shoe. And that goes into the materials, the manufacturing, the shipping, storage, and promotion. They pay about $12. Some of those shoes have a 3,000% markup. And I'm like, I've been done known that. So my dad was like, nah, Dad, take me to the store and point out the clearance rack so I can get me another pair of clearance rack Adidas, because his shoes are growing. And I ain't praising Adidas, but at least if you're going to go for somebody, go for the king. Let's do trickle-down boycotts. Boycott the top, and then the second tier, third tier, and just let's wipe it out incrementally, because we need some shoes. My son, but now he's wearing those, he's a skateboarder, so he wears those Vans. But it's the principality. So yeah, I hate pro sports. And I hate the fact that my community has such reverence, such appreciation, such enthusiastic financial support that we literally cultivate. They literally state, recruiters, college recruiters say, listen, poor education and sunlight grows a lot of great athletes. They like the South and certain communities are incubators for great athletes. Because they're physically strong, they're easy to direct, to coach, and even more better, they don't really have any ideological founding. So we give them an NBA contract, and then we turn around and say, hey, promote this watch, promote this car. We're going to promote these shoes. And we're going to make these shoes in a sweatshop overseas. We're going to do an obscene markup, and we're going to use slaves overseas to promote them, to manufacture them, and we're going to use slaves wage slaves in America to buy them. And you got grown-ass black men that don't feel like they've done anything for their children because they can't afford to get them Jordans. I know the anxiety and the hurt I felt because I never had a pair of Jordans. And I had one friend who lived in the projects, Troy. His mama worked. She was a nurse's aide. And she didn't make enough. She made so little as a nurse's aide, she still qualified for food stamps and housing assistance. So even though she had a full-time job, 2 full-time jobs, she still qualified for public assistance. And she worked as great to say to get her son a pair of Jordans. And he was like, I got a pair of Jordans. And he had such anxiety because at this time they were robbing and killing people for Jordans. And me and him had been stuck up twice. Dudes rolled up on us and put guns in our faces 2 different times. So he begged for Jordans for years, got his pair of Jordans, and put them up on the shelf in his moldy project apartment, and never wore them out the house. And every now and then he'd visit with his Jordans, take them down off the shelf, put them on the box, might put them on, lace them up a little bit, wear them around the house, might wear them to a family event. Couldn't wear them to school, couldn't wear them in the neighborhood, and Lord no, he couldn't wear them to basketball practice. I mean, it goes deep. It runs deep for us as African people. And I think it's disgusting. And I think more of us should stop allowing this to happen. So, yeah, thanks, Lizzo. Thanks for literally dumping on the NBA and showing it for the sport. And then let me tell you something else. Shout out to my Uncle Chris. My Uncle Chris, closest thing I had to a father growing up. And he took us to basketball games. We used to go to UMKC Kangaroo games. I ain't forgot. He took us to wrestling. I went to see Hulk Hogan battle Kamala, the Ugandan giant, for the WWF. It was World Wrestling Federation back then, not the WWE, but I got to see that. He took us to basketball games. He took me to football games. He took me to Royal Stadium. He took us to see Michael Jackson perform. I've been to so many performances, so many sporting events. And for y'all to pretend like booties are a problem, as a little kid, when I would go to sporting events, it was inevitable that some woman, after her 5th or 6th beer, was going to stand up and take off her bra or pull up her top and jiggle her breast, and everybody would cheer in front of all the babies. It was almost inevitable. I'd go to these events, and the opposing team on the other side would do these pelvic thrusts, and they turn around and moon us. One of the most salacious, criminal, sexually open events of the year. One of the craziest, sexually charged, most hedonistic orgy events of the year is the NBA All-Star Game. When the NBA All-Star Game comes around, you start seeing and hearing all this, all the hoes get ready. This is the time to get you a rich baby daddy. Everybody knows about All-Star Weekend and how crazy it gets. Sex, drugs, and hip-hop. That's all it is. And everybody goes down there to ball out, show out, hoe off. There's nothing family-oriented about the NBA, but people coming to me talking about Lizzo's butt-harmed children. No, the NBA and the false dreams. And we got millions of brilliant, able-bodied black boys out here chasing balls when they could be cultivating other skills or trying to orient themselves to accomplish other things. But the NBA gives this false promise. And there are a lot of broken young. I know several. I got 2 of my friends, best friends growing up, had staked their lives on at least getting a college scholarship and not go to the pros. One for football and one for basketball. And they both told me, I wish I had done something else with my life. I wish I had a damn childhood. Going to them damn basketball camps and then these abusive coaches. I remember when I had my first season at Bishop Hogan, my freshman year, I was 6'2", 6'1". And Coach Jackson was like, man, come try out for the team. And I walk in there and he's all, you little bitches, your mama, just talking. I'm like, oh. And I went and auditioned for the play. I'm like, I'm not doing this. This dude talking crazy. And I was in a private school, but I'm not no private school kid. I didn't have private school upbringing. So I'm like, you can't talk to me any kind of way. I don't know how to carry that. I got enough struggles in my life. Then listen to some damn high school basketball coach call me all out my name. And he was extremely degrading. But anyway, so yeah, my problem with this whole Lizzo booty thing is that people think that the NBA is somehow above Lizzo's booty. And I would say the other way. Lizzo's booty was too good for the NBA. And y'all act like you would swear she walked in on a Dr. Jimmy Clark on a Kidi Awadu lecture and showed her booty. She walked into a sacred ritual, a Khan or Yoruba ritual, and dropped her booty. You would think she came in on some scholarly African ritual, some sacred African gathering, and dropped her booty. She went to an old funky ass NBA game and showed her booty, and it don't matter. The NBA is trash. The players are trash. The owners are racist, billionaire trash. The NBA is a parasitic organization, a racist organization, exploitative organization, a nationalist organization, just like the NFL and all these other pro sports industries. And I say Lizzo's booty is too good for the NBA, not the other way around. And if your child was watching the NBA and they got smacked in the face with booty, haha, that's what they get. Shouldn't be having your children watch that. Put on a National Geographic documentary or something else. Or better yet, send your little snot-nosed kids out to play. You shouldn't have them looking up to these damn Uncle Tom-ass ball chasers. These confused-ass, infantile black men getting paid too much money to do too little for us. And people are mad at me again. But I stand on what I say. The black community should divest. Not just divest our money and our attention, but pull our children out of that ball chasing industry. How many more broken black men, how many more drunk, drug-addicted black men they found that go from being sensations to being the butt of jokes? And yeah, okay, they get money, but there's money. If we can get more together than we can get, serving them. We can get more working together than we can get serving them. Imagine if all that talent that we sell to the highest bidder, literally on the auction block, NBA or the NFL Combine, imagine if all that energy projected outward, all that talent that we sell outward, if we kept it at home and cultivated it. It's no different than Africa. Y'all look at Africa and you see Africans are so dumb. They selling their resources. They got all that gold, all that bauxite, all that diamond, all that coltan, and they just selling it all. Imagine if they kept all those resources in Africa to develop African industries. They would be wealthier than selling that stuff off. But it's the same thing for our human resources. If you got some 6'10", 480-pound physical specimen, instead of sending him off to white people to check his rump, to check his teeth, and see how fast he can run and how he can jump. Imagine if we cultivated something within our community, the Pan-African Games, and sending them off. Now we're sending them off to the Olympics. We think it's short term. If we took one generation to cultivate our own internal industries, as opposed to generation after generation of farming our best and brightest and most talented out to other people's industries, let them go back to segregated sports. You think they integrated sports because they loved us? I was just 3-4 weeks ago at the Negro Leagues Museum. If we had sustained the Negro Leagues, we'd have an independent economy right now, and all the money coming from the Negro Leagues baseball could be put into all types. We could manufacture the damn balls and the bats and everything else. But we keep going for the short term. Michael Jordan should be a pariah, not a hero in our communities. So yeah, we got it backwards. That's all. It's just out. It outrages me. So yeah, I wish I could cuss because I'd say some words. Forget the NBA. And I would say the worst thing Lizzo did was waste her money on courtside seats. But I don't even think she paid. But like I said, when I was a child going to all of these public events, there was always titties and booties. And this is in the 80s and 90s, the good old days, the days y'all want to get back to. The 70s when the black family was strong. Those mythological good old days. The delusional good old days of the fictional past. And if you are a sports fan, if you take nothing else away from this, there is an individual by the name of Dave Zirin. And he has a blog called Edge of Sports. And this is the only sports news that I consume. I can't watch that Stephen KKK Smith. I can't watch these clowns, coons, buffoons, and minstrels talk in gibberish about sports. And one more thing about sports, because I also go to the gym. And every time I go to the gym, they got monitors everywhere. It's crazy. Even in the locker room, they got monitors. And they're all on ESPN. There's like 50 different ESPN channels. And on these sports channels is the only place on U.S. media where I hear black men speak with force and authority. The only place. Black men will get up in a white man's face. A black man will come with a do-rag and smoke a black and mild and cuss a honky out on the TV. Yeah, let me tell you something. You wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. You a damn fool. You an ass. And cursing out white men and bucking their chest. And black men pounding on tables, being black men on ESPN. And that is the only place in media where I see black men being authoritarian and forceful and articulate is when it comes to sports. But then you go to C-SPAN. You go to MSNBC. You go to any of these other stations. And brothers on there. Even if you go to the president. They got the eagle, you got the man. Obama was walking around with the nuclear football. He had the nuclear codes, and he's still up there. Well, I just want to work with the Republicans in Congress. I hope. You got scholars. They read every book ever printed. We'll go on C-SPAN or go on NPR and be like, well, Ta-Nehisi Coates, I just feel we should get reparations for all the torture. The only place, why do you think that is? You think that's by accident? Oh, the Bro Diallo Show, probably the only other place in media. And Sabra Sunseri and Umar on the YouTube, but on the corporate media, on the mainstream corporate media, show me outside of sports where a black man can speak with such confidence and authority and assertiveness. But y'all don't know the game that's been playing here. So yeah, corporate media, on the mainstream corporate media, show me outside of sports, other place in media. And Sabra Sunseri and Umar on the YouTube, but on the corporate media, on the mainstream corporate media, show me outside of sports where a black man can speak with such confidence and authority and assertiveness. But y'all don't know the game that's been playing here. So yeah, Lizzo, thank you. I wish not only did she not twerk, I wish she had taken a dump in the middle of the damn basketball court. F their games. F their institutions. F them. And like I said, Lizzo, and I was really like, how are you like booties in NBA? You know, women? You know, all y'all ever talk about are groupies and hoochies, but I guess she's too fat to be a groupie or a hoochie. You know, and then some women, and I Googled NBA cheerleaders. Because everybody knows about the NBA, for the cheerleaders for football, but I don't even think they call them cheerleaders in the NBA. What are they, dancers? But I Googled image NBA, and all I saw was booty meat and camel toes. It's like when has objectification of women not been a central pillar of pro sports? But I guess people say it's because she's fat, and that's why she shouldn't have done it. But I say, still, if you are outraged by Izzo, you're an idiot. You should be outraged by the NBA. You should be. Where's your morality? You're moral enough to support the NBA. It just doesn't line up to me. I don't understand it. If it wasn't for all these people pretending to be moral, upstanding person, righteous, upstanding people, I just didn't understand it. Now, people that just don't like Izzo, I think you have every right to not like Izzo. 99% of all artists right now, I don't like. I got critiques for all these artists. You listen to the Bro Diallo Show. I'm not a groupie of 90% of these artists. So I'm not defending Lizzo as an artist. I'm not defending Lizzo as anything. What I'm not defending anything, or what I am condemning black people's how we hold these damn games sacred, or that we give any value or any credence to this game, that we will open our mouths to defend anything that happens. Who cares what happens at the NBA games? It doesn't matter to us. It's not worthy. The NFL and the NBA and Major League Baseball are not worthy of our concern or our attention. And they're not worthy of our respect, even if you like to watch the games. You ain't got to wear the shoes. Do you got to wear the jerseys? Do you got to go buy the products off the shelves? Do you got to sit and have some ritual chicken wings and set up your man cave and the post? Do you got to go all the way with it? I mean, we all like things. I ain't even mad at you for liking sports. I like video games. Some of them. Now the video games all suck. I'm playing games, 20-year-old games. I'm listening to 30-year-old hip hop. I'm there, y'all. I'm going to go home and yell at some kids to get off my lawn. I'm an old man. Fine, I'm there. I didn't did my dirt, like DMX. I didn't did my dirt. You know, I didn't put in my work. So now it's time for me to just put it on autopilot and just do all the old man stereotypes. But I like the games. But I ain't wearing no video game sneakers. I don't have no video game. I mean, y'all take, it ain't just a pastime. Something you do in your spare time. Y'all be following the stats. I know dudes that don't know their kids' birthdays, but can run down the stats for all the new recruits, all the draft picks, all the champ, know all those stats, all that brain capacity used for this BS nonsense. But let me stop talking about Lizzo. I'm glad she did it. And whatever your opinion is, if you're in any way talking about her disgracing or besmirching the NBA, now, like I said, if she came into a scholarly debate or if she came into anything worthy of respect or dignity and took her ass out, if she walked into I don't even like the church, but if she walked into my grandmother's church and took her ass, well, I think I'd celebrate that too. I love those pictures where people show black women with their ass in those salacious outfits in church, because God hates women. Yes, if you worship a God that is a Judeo-Christian Islamic God, then your God don't like you, and your God thinks you're less too. Your God sees you nothing more as breeding stock, and I can back it up Quranically or scripturally. I can back it up. Your God doesn't like you. And to be mad at me, your God doesn't like you. He thinks you're less than me. And if you argue with me, then you've just sinned against your God, because I am a man. So yes, Lizzo, take your ass out in church, take your ass out in the NBA. But if she was at something of true value, something of true dignity, and took her ass out, I'd be right there, be like, well, put your ass away, Lizzo. We're trying to take care of business, do something that matters here. But take your ass over to the ball games. Yes, and I'm glad it was a big, black, dark ass middle finger to the NBA. You ain't nothing. It's nothing but an absurd spectacle. But the real obscenity is how we, as a community, and this nation as a nation, invest so much in sports as the infrastructure and everything of quality and of true value in this society goes underfunded and neglected and is deteriorating. And there's a book called Welcome to the Terror Dome, written by Dave Zirin, that does nothing but detail how these pro sports arenas and how these pro sports team owners literally shake down city and state governments for funds, for welfare. So you're paying for sports 4 or 5 times over. You're paying for it directly and buying their products that they endorse and watching these games and going to these games. But there's all other levels of where you're paying through it, through indirect and direct taxation. Sucker ass. Y'all some mark ass tricks. And I ain't saying I'm doing it too, but I'm doing it unwillingly. I'm being coerced. I ain't going for the okie doke. Y'all celebrate your exploitation. Now let me move on. Don't get me on here talking about black women's butts. Because I got my own set of black women butt at home. I'm kind of into that. I hope my wife isn't listening. Let's move on. Let's get off of